Well, political parties and internal democracies are, well, homeward bound with this one with Cosmas Chikwendu. He's a legal practitioner. Good morning and thanks for joining us. You've been following happenings, and of course you listened to Senator Arishe and the chairman of the PDP. You're not a politician. Perhaps let's look at this speaking constitutionally and how political parties are formed and what we expect of political parties when we talk about internal democracy.
Well, there's this saying that charity begins at home. We are in a democracy, and the democracy we ought to practice ought to begin from the basic family of politics in Nigeria, which is the political party. But we still have this hangover of the military regime, military rule. This idea of impunity is still with us. And the problems the political parties are having now, all of them, PDP, ACN, and so on and so forth, all of them, all the political parties, they have the same problem. There is actually no internal democracy.
There's none.
There is none. They do what they like. They do what they like. See what is happening in Lagos. See what is happening in Ekiti from what the senator just told us. So I believe that all these things, with the passage of time, will be resolved.
He said something when he began, said something about the Constitution empowering the governors too much, and that needs to be sorted. I asked him if it was the party constitution, but he said the federal constitution.
No, it will be the party constitutions. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has nothing to do with what goes on internally in the parties.
So what exactly is it you see that has made you to say, well, it's a blanket statement you have made that irrespective of the parties, PDP, APC, whichever, well, there's absence of internal democracy in these parties?
You will look at the pages of the newspapers. If it is not today, it will be yesterday, it will be tomorrow. Today it's Ekiti State that Senator talked about. Yesterday's paper, it was ACN in Lagos.
That's APC.
APC. Senator Tinubu and what's his name? Odutola. Odutola is complaining that Senator Tinubu has been imposed in his own senatorial district and he will not take it. So it's the same internal absence of internal democracy. So none of the parties is exempt. They are all liable. They are all guilty of the same offense.
What exactly should we be seeing when we say, well, you said charity begins at home, then if we say home is the parties, what exactly should we have seen that you have said, well, is absent?
For a particular candidate to emerge from a party, there ought to be a process.
Let's talk about the process.
And this, okay.
What's the process about? How is it like?
The process ought to be by way of primaries and so on and so forth. Conduct your primaries. Allow the candidates to convince the delegates. Let whoever emerges be a product of a democratic election, democratic process in your own party. If you cannot fix democracy in your party, why should you complain when things go wrong in the national level?
I'm tempted to ask you whether it's really possible for us to have democratic, because a lot of people think that oftentimes it is about going to the polls, but you know, some people have said that that is very different. The fact that you just vote, having free elections does not equate to having a democratic, because oftentimes if an election is going to be rigged, it most likely would have been done even before people actually go to the polls. But you know, let's quickly swing this matter over now to the court ruling of Friday. Well, what had transpired in the House, and the fact that the Speaker of the House of Representatives had taken the federal government, beg your pardon, the PDP, and also members of the House the
Deputy
police,
Speaker.
rather, to court. You know, you're saying that the status quo should be maintained, and it would seem that the court did rule in his favor, but nothing more. Saying the court agreed that status quo be maintained, but it would seem that nothing more nothing more was given from that ruling.
Well, did the court rule in favor of anybody? I don't think so.
Was the court neutral then?
The court was very neutral. The court did not get involved in the controversy. The dispute is still there. Mm-hmm. All the court has done is to say, let the status quo be maintained. Status quo as at the time you came to court.
What does that mean?
He came to court, Tambuwal, got to court complaining his security details were removed. That is one of the complaints. The house is on vacation. The house is not reconvene until the date already fixed, sometime in December. Whichever complaint, actually, you know, I'm not seized of the facts of the case. It's just what we gather from the newspapers. And what else? That he is still the Speaker of the House and still a member. As at today, the court is yet to look into those complaints. All the court said was, as at the time you came to court, what was the status quo? Let that status quo be maintained. And that was it. Nothing. Nobody gained from it. What I mean, it was not to the advantage of anybody. Your security details were already removed. The court did not say they should be sent back to you.
So what sort of relief is that?
What sort of relief?
Yes.
It's an interim relief.
Did the court grant anybody any relief then?
Well, how do you put it? It's a relief, just the status quo. I read in the newspapers that the court said that Tambuwal is still the Speaker. The court didn't say so. The court didn't say so. What is the status quo? The House is on recess. Let them remain on recess, pending the hearing and termination of the preliminary objection by the defendants and the substantive suit on the 17th of November. So that is that.